happy Wednesday, beautiful day in downtown Vancouver. To everybody here and you on TV land and internet land and stuff like that. I got my friend Cameron Van Klei, who I've known for how many years now?
I don't know, like 8 or 9 years probably.
Close to 10, right? And Cameron's background, from my knowledge, is a great realtor, came from Royal LePage.
Home life.
Home life, sorry, same thing. And we're joking. and wanted to set up his own real estate office in Chilliwack and needed a place to house his license with a few of his buddies for a while. So we love to have him over at our brokerage. And then he ventured off to set up his own C21 Creekside Realty in Chilliwack. And now you're in Abbotsford and
Agassiz.
Agassiz
Counts, yeah.
Okay, but anyway, he's making a mark for him. He's in the top Canadian rankings for Century 21 in both production and units. He kicked our ass this year. So anyway, we're coming back. We're gonna kick his ass in 2025. I promise you that. But anyway, Cameron phoned me and offered to do his real estate coaching program that he does for his team. And now he's out there doing it for other Century 21 offices and international. He speaks at our Canadian conference. Hey, Leo. And so he said, I can come down and do an hour condensed version of a coaching program to help you kickstart your 2025, get some best practices and life lessons, because it's not just year, but it's the next year and the next year and the next year. And he's got your workbook. He's also an author. I'll let him talk about his book then. Cameron, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time.
It's quite the introduction. Holy moly. Hello, everybody. Actually, funny story. So when I opened my own brokerage in 2017 or whatever it was, I told my broker at the time, like, hey, I think I want to start a brokerage. And he's like, okay, sounds good. And I walked out the door and the secretary is like, hey, you've been fired. Give us your key. And so I got cut from my brokerage that day. And then I phoned Mike. I'm like, Mike, I'm unlicensed. Will you license me? And so I was actually licensed in this brokerage for, I think, 6 weeks before they got my broker's license in Chile, which is kind of funny. So I've been a part of this office before. So I'm not sure how much you guys want to know, but this is one of the, I teach a whole bunch of different series, and this is one of my favorite ones to start every December, January, or early February. I've been doing this for 18 years, and typically I do this in like a 4-hour course that we run. But I'll do like the 1 hour overview. We'll rip through it. Feel free to ask as many questions. And we're going to hopefully set up your business to do it the right way in 2025. Who has a business plan so far this year? A couple of you guys. Do you like your business plan? Maybe yes, maybe no. Friggin' realtors. I'm the same as all of you guys. We are like scatterbrained. It's hard to commit to something, or you have these big lofty goals. And then like 2 weeks later, something happens, then you're kind of off track. So let's see if we can't like get everyone on track. So these are the 4 things I want to talk to you guys about today. So one is I want you to get a handle on your business. Just know where deals come from. And then we're going to push into that side of the business. Because I know realtors were like bumblebees chasing a different flower every 30 seconds, rather than just honing in on the things that actually work for us. So we're going to spend some time tracking our business. And then I want to add some systems into your business. And then we're going to go through setting up the perfect day. Because I think if we do the same day over and over and over again, you're going to have success. And then finally, just a little bit of goal setting. Does anybody know what was on January 10th of this year?
Quitters Day.
National Quitters Day. Yeah, we've already passed it.
Quitters Day?
Yeah, it's National Quitter. Everyone sets a goal on January 1st. And then by the 10th, they've all quit already is what happens.
Heard of that.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're welcome. You learned nothing. You learned that today. So background on me a little bit. I know realtors always want to say how great they are. So I started real estate in 2006. So I came from a construction background. Well, I actually went to school to become a doctor first, and I played university sports, and I partied my face off for the first year, and then I dropped out, and I'm like, this is not for me. Went back to the job site. I'll never forget the day I was digging a trench in the pouring rain, because it freaking sucks here in the wintertime. This white Mercedes pulls up, and this umbrella comes out, and there's this girl in high heels, and she tips toes past me, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to make money, I want to talk to people, and I want to get out of the rain. And so I signed up for my real estate course that day. It was 2006. So I passed at the very end of 2006. Now, who was around in 2006? Am I the only one that was selling in 2006? One of you? Okay. So I showed up. I had no idea what to do. So I'd work on the job site from like 7:30 in the morning till 3:30.
Yeah.
I'd have a change of clothes. I'd have my little polo shirt, 21-year-old Cam, and my jeans. And I would do an open house every day from 4:30 to 6:30. And in 2007, the market was really good. So I thought I was God's gift to real estate. So people would come to the open house and they'd say, wow, you look like my grandson. And I'd be like, do you want to buy the house? And they would say, yes. And so in my very first calendar year in real estate, I sold 33 houses. And at the end of the year, I bought myself a Mustang GT. I bought myself a townhouse and I moved in my 5 best friends. We call it the man house. We got a free hot tub. It was the grossest hot tub we've ever seen in your entire life. And I was having the time of my life. Then 2008 rolled around and I would work on the job site and I would do the open houses. And if people came to open houses, this is the Great Recession, they would be like, oh, we need to think about it. And I had no sales skills, nothing ready to go. And I'd be like, yeah, you think about it. And I expected they would come back and they never, ever did. So let's fast forward a little bit. So 2008, my accountant calls me and says, hey, Cam, congratulations. And I'm like, my accountant's going to buy a house for me. This is awesome. Because I hadn't sold a house until 2008 yet because no one wanted to buy houses anymore. And she goes, we just did your taxes. You only owe $25,000. So at this point, I had spent every dollar I made. I owned a truck, a Mustang GT. I had a huge mortgage on this house. I had spent every last dollar at the bar and restaurants and having a good time with my friends. And so it's funny when you hit rock bottom in your real estate career a little bit, because I was supposed to be God's gift to real estate. Now I couldn't sell and I was broke. So I remember going to my managing broker, the one that fired me actually later on. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, oh, maybe try this. And he pulled out a CD that was an old Tom Hopkins cheeseball sales guy CD, which basically like teaches you like what to say in real estate, but it's super weird. Listen to it 1,000 times. So it's like, how do you plan your business? How do you prospect? How do you convert? All of the things that no one had ever taught me. And the other thing I noticed is in 2008, there was a whole bunch of old realtors walking around my office with a crappy cup of coffee, fear in their eyes, just like I had fear in my eyes. And they're like, Cam, when I was your age, I wish I would have bought a house. And so those are the 2 foundational things that I learned in 2008. I'm like, I need to buy real estate and I need to get good at my craft. And so I started putting my head down and learning everything that I could. And so by 2010 or 11, I was selling over 100 houses a year every single year. I was top 30 realtors under 30 in Canada for all of the brands. I was at Home Life #1 in Canada for the brand. And I remember going to my managing broker. I'm like, how come no one teaches this stuff? And he's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, can I teach at the brokerage? And he was like, no, sorry, this is just for my kids. And like, so I brought his kid into the office the next week. I'm like, we'll do this together. And he's like, sorry, Cam, it's only for my kids. And so that's when I said, hey, I think I want to start my own brokerage, and fired me, et cetera, and kind of here we go now. And on the backside, I started buying houses and then commercial buildings and then land and everything on the side. And so today I own roughly $35 million in real estate. It cash flows about $80,000 a month. So I get to step back. I don't have to work if I don't want to. It comes in month after month after month. Mike said that I started a real estate company. We've done pretty good. We were number 21 in the world, I think, last year. But I also still sell houses because I like it. It's so much fun. I thought that I would quit selling houses. So my 10-year average right now is I sell about 72.5 houses per year on average. My goal is to only sell 30 houses this year because I'm trying to do less and less and less. And I sell real estate for about 3 hours a week. And so I really want to impress upon you guys the systems and the things that I do to get you guys into that spot, hopefully. Kind of makes sense? A little bit of backstory? Okay, there we go. It's a lot of talking about myself, sorry. So here's my favorite way to start this. Time wasters and realtors. I do this in a seminar. Sometimes we have more time. I make everyone take their phone, pull it out, and you look at your insights on Instagram and Facebook. And I say, hey guys, can you tell me how long you spent on social media? Because they always tell me, I don't have time to do the things that you want me to do. And then they spend 4 hours a day on social media. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about yourself. What I'm trying to tell you is that you have the time to do the things that you want to do if you actually want to do those things. That's all I'm going to kind of harp on right here. But it's funny, like most people get up, watch TV, on social media, all of the time wasters. There's thousands of people in Silicon Valley that are literally paid to make you addicted to your phone. So the two tips I'd have for you today is 1, set a timer on your social media. Mine's at 15 minutes a day. My timer goes off, it shuts down. I can't be on it anymore. And then at 8 p.m. every night, the grayscale turns on my phone so that it's not fun and addictive on my phone anymore. So after 8 p.m., it turns black and white. It's now boring on my phone. Turn it off. I get a great night's sleep. I get to do the next day over again. So, okay. Anyways, so let's make sense of your business. So this is how I run my business model every year. So it's do it and then review it and then tweak it. This is why January is such a powerful month, because everyone is open to the opportunity of like, maybe my business isn't what I thought it would be. Let's tweak it a little bit. And so today we're going to talk about working kind of in your business. For most people talk about working in your business, we're going to work on your business. So we're going to take the overlook at what everything looks like and then kind of go from there. So does anybody know what a mature real estate business is? Has anyone ever taught you this at all? No? Okay. Maybe you know what this is, maybe you don't. So I wish someone would have told me this when I started real estate. So a mature real estate business takes 5 years to start. It takes 5 years to get there. It's almost like a university degree. Now it's broken up into 3 parts. It's called get clients, keep clients, get referrals. That's it. We make this business so much more complex than it ever needs to be. So 33% of your business needs to be new people coming into your system. 33% needs to be repeat business, so people that have worked with you and want to work with you again. And the other 33 is just referrals because you do a good job. Now, you guys probably know this stat too. 84% of people, when they're done working with a realtor, were like, we loved our realtor, we would use them again. Average Canadian moves every 5.7 years right now. In 5.7 years, how many people do you think use the same realtor again?
Like 17 or 21%.
17, any other guesses? 10. So the number is like about 14%. So 84% of people are like, we loved our realtor. After 5.7 years, 14% actually use their realtor. Do you know the number one reason why they don't use their realtor again?
Don't stay in touch.
They forgot their name. So we run around thinking that we're amazing. Everyone loves us. We have our pictures on benches and on advertising, social media, and we're these wonderful people. And we think all of our clients think that they think of us all of the time, and they actually don't. So we need systems for these things so that you can run your business and they're actually being reminded of who you are and what you're doing at the same time as you're working with other clients. Because doesn't it suck when you find out one of your clients used a different realtor after 5.7 years?
Worst feeling ever.
Friggin' hate it.
Yeah.
Friggin' hate it. So I'm gonna leave all of this stuff in your book. We're gonna fly through it fast because I only get an hour with you guys. The Wheel of Life is something that I start with every single year, and I just make a little point on there and I go through the different parts of my life. So how's my self-confidence? How's my financial stability? How are my transactions? How are my family? And then you just kind of draw a circle around it, and it's kind of helping you to figure out where you're at a little bit. So we'll breeze through it. So let's start tracking. So this is how I started my rudimentary tracking years ago, because I didn't really know what to do. So I would sell all these houses and they're like, well, what do I do at this point? And it's important to know where your business comes from. So 21-year-old Cameron sat in open houses 7 days a week, literally 7 days a week. And then on the weekends, I would double it up. I would do 12 to 2, and then I would do 2 to 4. Because that was my only source of getting business. Because at 21 years old, your friends aren't buying houses yet. Your friends' parents don't trust you because you're way too young. And I didn't have any marketing skills. So that was my area that I knew I needed to spend time at. But as I've gotten older, it's all about your database. And so I'm an old school realtor. I know that I'm under 40 still. But like we chase all of these things all of the time. Literally, you need 100 people in your database that know, like, and trust you, and you will have the coolest career ever, I promise. So if you have 100 people in your database and they all use you, that means 20 people on average are going to call you every year. That's 20 listings and 20 sales. That's 40 transactions a year. Who would like to have 40 transactions a year? Most of us. So that's why I don't know how to sell less than 40 houses a year, actually, because I have a really good database. And I literally, like, they call me like, hey, Cam, we're so sorry. I know you're busy. We went to an open house. We really liked it. Can you please list our house and write an offer on this house? It's a really fun spot to be in. Now I watch my poor brand new realtors, and they like freaking like fight it out, and they duck it out in open houses, and they get to a listing presentation. They're like, hey, we called 5 other realtors. And you go through that. But as you build a group of people that know, like, and trust you and you're valuable to them, they're going to call you and use you no matter what. You guys ever heard like the babysitter analogy? I'm going to throw all sorts of fun stuff at you. Okay, so who has kids here? A couple of you guys, some of us have kids. Okay, this is the funniest thing in life. So when we get someone to babysit our kid, do we typically use like the 12-year-old next door neighbor who we kind of know to babysit our kids? Or do we call someone who's like a 35-year-old trained ECE person that we don't know? We usually call the 12-year-olds, right? Is that not crazy? And so what that means is in real estate, even if you're not very good, but people know you and like you, they're going to call you, which is crazy because there might be someone who's 10 times better real estate than you, but they're still going to call you because they know you and they like you. So just think that you're the 12-year-old babysitter next door. Just make sure they know who you are and you're going to sell houses. It's kind of funny. Okay, so this is literally how I started tracking years ago. I took some stats from 2015, pared it down so we can fit on one page. And I literally went line by line. And I'm like, I got this person from an open house. I got this person from repeat business. I got this person. And all we do is I've sent you this. I want you guys just to take this spreadsheet that's in your book, take your last year's stats when you guys have some quiet time, write down, was it a list? Was it a buy? Where did they actually come from? And was it a new client, repeat business, or referral? And when you go through all of this and you do the math, you're going to see how mature your business is. So if most of your clients are brand new, you have a very immature business because you don't have a lot of repeat stuff. Now, on the other side, if all of your business is repeat buyers and referrals, you have a more mature business, but you're missing that new entrance of people coming into your business. And so people later in their career, this is where it starts to get stale, because they're like, my database keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Then we need to focus on where you should be bringing people into your database.
Mhm.
So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I want you guys to take the most boring spreadsheet of all time and do that when you guys have some time. Now, the next thing I like to do is I like to figure out when we're selling houses, how much we're making per end and how much we're worth per hour. Does anybody know how much they're worth per hour? No one? Guys, okay. So if you were like to take a job somewhere and you did an interview and it was like they didn't post how much you were making per hour, would you want to apply for that job?
No.
But yet we sell real estate and we have no idea how much we're making per hour. Okay, good. I like to, be a little bit cheeky sometimes. Okay. So all I want you to do is I want you to figure out what was your income last year. You have a gross and a net, right? Gross is how much you made, net is how much you actually made after all of your expenses, right? Driving your car and running your business and paying Mike his fees and the advertising. But I want you to figure how much you're worth. And this really matters to me. I think we should benchmark where it is and try and be a little bit more valuable every single year. And here's where it's kind of funny. So maybe you have a house and on Saturday morning, you're mowing your lawn because you want to save landscaping fees or whatever. And so a landscaper's worth $30 an hour, but you're worth $35 an hour. And you're like, well, maybe I should put out my own signs, my own lock boxes, my own marketing, my own whatever, but you could probably hire somebody for $20. Or maybe vice versa. Maybe you're worth like $8 an hour because you're new at this and it's a hard business. You shouldn't be spending the money for other things. You should be doing it yourself. So we really like to figure out where those things are at. Now, the fun part with this is I like to be worth X amount per hour when I'm not working. That's one of my bigger goals. So if I can own real estate and have passive income, then I can step back and how much can I be worth every single hour, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. That's a fun number. So mine is about $500 an hour right now. Passive income is where I'm at, just in case we're doing math on this. So if I work or I don't work, $500 an hour is coming into my passive investments. Super fun. That's where we want to be. Okay. So this is just basically like a little boring thing, figuring out how much you guys are worth per hour. So why is this important? I want you guys to start focusing on where your business actually comes from. So I have 128 realtors that work for me, and I have the same conversations that you guys have all the time. Like, boss, I'm doing TikTok. Okay, great. And then I'm doing Facebook ads. And then, oh, I'm doing a Craigslist this, or I'm doing an open house, or I'm doing a first-time buyer seminar, right? Have we all tried all of these things? Trying networking group, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And I'm like, where does your business come from? Like, well, from all of it. You're like, why don't we pick one or two things, get really good at those things, and then talk about other things? So I'm really trying to hone you guys into figuring out where your business comes from. Spoiler alert, it's your database. That's like the biggest secret in this industry. So anyways, let's build some systems. So what are real estate systems? This is my favorite part. Just the same thing that you do over and over and over. And I'm going to try not to bore you guys because no realtor likes systems. So we just need a foundation to build off of, and we need something to be happening when we're busy. Who gets it where they have 3 or 4 transactions on the go? You're really busy. You finish those transactions, and then all of a sudden you're done with them. And then what happens?
Where's everything else?
Where's all the buyers?
Yeah, where's the next group?
Right. And so your career literally looks like this, up and down and up and down and up and down. And it's feast and famine, feast and famine. Is that a fun way to run a real estate business?
No.
No, because on one side, you give up everything for the transaction. My very first deal, by the way, was Christmas Eve. Do you think I had Christmas Eve dinner with my family, or do you think I went and did the transaction?
Transaction.
Yes. Is that a good way to live your life?
Sometimes.
Right? Because you're good sometimes.
Depends if you like your family.
I was
or
gonna
not.
say, depends on how much you like your family. Sometimes like, yes, Christmas Eve deal. But that's not how to run a business. We want it to be very steady. And that's also another way of figuring out if you have a mature business is how steady is your business on a regular basis, right? So here's the 3 systems I wish you guys would implement and forget about everything else. And I know this is boring. I know it's old school, but it's sphere of influence, open houses, and geographical farming. Statistically in real estate, this is S.M.A.R.T because Canada does a bad job at tracking their stats. 94% of all transactions come from these 3 things. That's it. And so does anyone know what geographical farming is?
One neighbor.
Yeah, a neighborhood basically. Like you're the pro of that neighborhood. So when a listing comes up, they're like, oh, like John is the guy. We're gonna call John and maybe our friend have 2 people look at our house. So geographical farming, I've done it. It's a lot more challenging. I think in today's world, it's getting harder and harder and harder and more expensive. So I would focus on the first 2 rather than the third one. But just giving you guys the top 3 statistically, because, oh man, most real estate coaches, they're like, buy internet leads. They're the best. Do we know what internet lead conversion rates are?
Yes,
20%.
1.4%, 2%, there's all sorts of things. So do you want to talk to 98 people for them to tell you no, try and find those 2% that maybe like you and have a rough transaction with them? I don't know, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I'm not talking you out of it. I'm just saying run your database and then call people that are angry and see how it goes. Right? But so many people in real estate, they want that magic bullet, right? Like, how can the internet feed me people that are going to buy houses from me? I don't know. If it works for you, I'd cheer you on. Fun way to run a business. Okay, so sphere of influence. This is literally how I do my stuff with my little team, non-team every single year. Sit down with my assistant and I'm like, this is how we're going to run our business. I have a little spreadsheet. This is what we're doing in January, February, March. We go through the entire year. I document it out a year in advance. And it's this simple. So we're like, how can we bring value to our people? So this is literally what I do. I do 4 market updates to my database that I handwrite. I'm tired of the CMHC says the market's going to go up 2%. I do my area and I tell them the good parts of it and the bad parts of it. Because when people ask a realtor how the market is, what do most realtors say?
Oh, it's good.
It's awesome. I'm so busy. P.S. What are 2 things you should never say when people ask you how the real estate market is?
So busy.
I'm so busy and it's awesome. So when you say I'm so busy, what do they think?
Too busy for.
Oh, Cam's too busy for me. He's not going to call me. And when I say it's awesome, then what happens? I don't believe Cam. Have you read the news lately? There's no chance. So now he's an untrustworthy guy that's too busy for me. So let's not use both of those answers when people ask us how the real estate market is doing. A better answer is, oh, it's interesting. Depends on what part of the market you're looking at. Is that a better answer? I think so. And so my market updates, I literally break it into a few different parts. So I say first-time buyers, investors, upsizers, downsizers. I take all 4 categories and I say, here's the pros and cons of each of them in this market right now. Do you think my database wants to hear those things? Yeah. Do you think it builds trust?
Yep.
Yes. In my database, I have teachers that literally take my market update and teach it to their children at school for like market updates for their kids in high school. Hey, this is what the real estate market's doing right now. Is that not the place that you want to be for trust with your database?
Mhm.
Absolutely. And the other stuff is gimmicky. So I give them free ice cream cones in the summer for their kids to go to an ice cream stand in the local place. I do the Canucks magnet. It's so funny because we all have phones, but what happens, you put a Canucks magnet up on your fridge and then you go to it every afternoon. You're like, oh, are the Canucks playing tonight? My little face, $350 cash referrals. So every single month they get something from me, whether it's a pumpkin or seeds at springtime or like those little coins that go into shopping carts. Every month they're getting something of value from me that they're going to want to open. Now I use the mail. Who opens their mail? Be truthful. We all have to open our mail. You can't not open it.
Yeah.
Now, who opens their email?
Not all of it.
Woof, that sucks. So there's some people that are going to be like, you should do email marketing campaigns. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I get 100, 200 emails a day and I literally go click, 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 delete. Right? That's why I want you guys to be mailing your database because they're actually going to open it. They're actually going to listen to it. So if you guys ever need this, let me know. I can send you all my stuff. One time I took like Valentine's hearts, begged them up, or my assistant did because I don't have time for that. Gave it to my people. And the response I got was hilarious. They're like, wow, Cam got me a better Valentine's gift than my husband. But it's just funny because now you're actually interacting with people that want to work with you, right? And if you guys want my market update, you can QR code it too. It's there if my head's in the way or not. Little things to do that are helpful. And then you literally put it on a 1-page business plan to make your life simple. So this is what I've done for years. I have it in the book for you guys too. You literally say, sell 12 homes this quarter, sphere of influence plan, open house plan, whatever your other plan is. Clean, simple, dry, so that when you hear another realtor, they're like, I sold 4 houses on TikTok. Then you don't be like, I better run to TikTok, right? Then you're like, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to stick to for this year. Works really good. Okay. Healthy habits and building the perfect day. I am flying today. I love this. Any questions so far? Do I talk too fast for you guys?
No.
I've lost one person. Great. Okay. So goal of the session. I think too often we talk about setting big goals and we forget about the daily practice. Who runs the same day every single day? Or your days varied? Come see, come saw?
Yeah.
Kind of all over the place. So if you had a real job, because this is a real job, but it's not a real job, right?
Corporate job.
What's that?
So if you had a
A
corporate,
corporate job. What happens in a corporate job if you don't show up at 8 a.m.?
you get fired.
You get fired. What happens if you don't take lunch break at noon and you don't go home at 4 or whatever those times are? And then we get into real estate and we're like, let's just see what happens. And we're kind of all over the place. Is that a recipe for success?
No.
No. And then what we do in real estate is we set these giant goals. Okay, I'm going to sell 60 houses this year and I'm just going to go laissez-faire and see what happens. And we're not really setting ourselves up for success. And so I spend a lot of time teaching about the perfect day. So if I can get people to do the same day over and over and over and over again, the non-sexy moments turn into the sexy moments later, right? If you do the boring things in the morning, whatever those things we're going to talk about, it turns into centurions and double centurions and money on the other side. Wealth, freedom, adventure, all stuff kind of comes on the other side, but you have to have these moments consistently to get there. So real estate is broken up into two parts: getting the business and doing the business. That's it. I like to keep things simple. What's more important, getting the business or doing the business?
Gotta get it.
Get it?
Getting it. Do you think a monkey could do this business?
Oh.
How hard is it to show a house, really? Like, really?
Yeah.
How hard is it to write a contract? I don't know a single realtor that's come into the industry and like, I'm getting out of the industry because I can't write a contract. Haven't heard it yet. Right? Can any realtor probably run an open house? Probably. Now, can every realtor actually get business? Oof, that's the difference maker. Now, do we need to have a clear brain to be able to get business?
Mhm.
Probably. And so our day needs to be focused on the two parts. When am I going to be getting business? When am I going to be doing the business? They're two very different things, and you need different brain capacities for each of them. So I like to spend time working this into the flow of our day so we know how to set up the perfect day. So these are the things that I like to put, or actually I'll skip even further. Man, I'm flying it like this. Here's what every day needs to have. You need to have time for creating a checklist for your day. Period. Now we're going to figure out when we're going to add that to your day. It's different for everyone. The next thing we have to focus on is how are we going to be getting business today? Does anyone ever get to the office and they're like, how am I going to sell a house today? No one? Okay, so
Again, it's on my mind every day.
I'll relive my childhood in real estate. So I would get to the office, and this is after I had like finally got my shit together, and I wrote a little 5 on my calendar every single month. My minimum goal was to sell 5 houses a month, period. That was like my low bar. If I didn't sell 5, I was failing. And so what would happen is I would get within a week or two and I would be, I'm only at 3 or 4 transactions. And so I had this immense pressure on myself that in the last week I had to sell a house. So I would show up to the office and like, how am I going to sell a house today? And this is where I call it real estate hunting. This is really fun for me. So real estate hunting, have you guys ever heard of hunting in real estate before? No, these are all like Chilliwack terms probably that I make up. And so what it is so many times we chase buyers or sellers, right? We try and find the buyer or the seller, and we try and match them to a house. Have you ever thought about doing it in the other order? If I find a really good deal, a really good property, what's the old saying? Money will follow the deal.
Mhm.
So what I would do is I would sit in my office and I'm like, where is the best deal that I can find in the Fraser Valley? Whether that be a flipper, a rental property, a land development, whatever it is. And I would go for 2 hours in the morning researching the heck out of stuff. Then I would build a pro forma. Do we know what pro formas are? Do we build pro formas in here?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't know what a pro forma is, it's basically taking the numbers of a house, doing a cash projection about 5 years into the future so you can see what the numbers lay out and what your return on investment is. I would build a pro forma on the properties, and then I would pick up the phone and I would call people in my database who I thought would be a good deal. Now, if you bring people in your database shitty deals, do you think they're going to answer your phone call?
No.
No, so make sure it's actually a good deal. So I'd get into the last week of every month and I'd be like, I better sell a house today. I would go hunting, build a pro forma, bring actual good deals to my people. And then what would happen? Hey, Cam, thanks for calling me. I really appreciate it. I would like to make an offer on this house today. Show up to the office, wanted to sell a house, I would sell a house. And here's the funny part. So we had a new realtor in our office, started a couple of years ago, brand new. He's like, boss, I want to go hunting just like you. And I'm like, I don't know if you have the skills yet. Maybe let's start with like some open houses and some of those things. And he's like, nope, I can go hunting just like you. I'm going to build some relationships, find a deal, and call someone. So guess what his first commission check was?
20 grand.
$560,000. Very first commission check. He put together a $52 million property, his very first transaction.
Jesus.
He went hunting. Found a big piece of land, thought it was a good deal, called every developer in the area. One of them was like, sure, I'll do it. That's it. He's like, see, boss, I told you I could do it. Now I can't tell him anything, right? And I was like, hit singles, do open houses. But literally, that's the whole hunting thing. And so that's the getting business part of our day that we have to have scheduled in there, or we're going to miss the point of this business. Then we have to be able to have time to do the business. Can you show houses at 8 a.m.? Okay, probably not. Do you want to show houses at 8 p.m.? Probably not. So there's certain times when we should be doing the business, right? Like there's natural progressions in these things. Now, health and fitness really matters to me. There's three things that really matter more than anything. So sleeping right, good nutrition, and working out. Those are rocks in my calendar. So if you would have peeled back the life of Cam 15 years ago or 12 years ago, I was puffy. I thought I was dying of a brain tumor. I would go to the doctor and like, I'm actually dying. Like my head hurts all of the time. I had indigestion. I was sick. Did I prioritize sleep? No. Did I prioritize exercise? No. And nutrition? I didn't want to talk about nutrition. So typical realtor, what do?
Beef jerky and something.
Beef jerky, energy drink from the gas station, probably McDonald's if I'm really hungry and I'm really stressed. And that was my life. And then I wondered why I wasn't my healthiest version of myself. And if we want to be good for our family, good for getting clients and have good brain space, we have to be fit and healthy. It's so freaking important. So one of my goals this year, we'll get into goals in a few minutes, is 250 clean days this year. So that means 45 minutes of exercise that day, no booze, reading 10 pages of a book, and hitting my macros, my fats, my proteins, and my carbs.
And hitting what?
My carbs, fats, proteins, and carbs. 250 days of the year. I'm going to be my best version of myself then, and I can do really cool things, right? Because I know what Cam was like 15 years ago. And when you show up to work with a splitting headache, indigestion, you haven't slept and you're not feeling good, am I really going to put as many things together that I should be? Probably not. So that is fundamental in my calendar every single day. And then you have to have family time or your own time. Like you don't have to, if you don't like your family, you don't have to. But if those are things that you prioritize, they should be in your calendar. So once we have those things that we know we need, then we need to build our flow. And so everyone's flow is going to be different. I hate waking up at 5 a.m. Whenever someone's like, I'm a 5 a.m. clubber and I exercise and I'm the greatest, I'm like, I shouldn't swear in this office meeting probably. I don't like those people. I can't get up at 5. That's too hard. It is.
Screw that.
And so for me, my daily flow is my alarm goes off at 6:40. I am in the office working every day by 7:41. I don't know how it works out. That's just the way traffic works and that's kind of how it goes. So from 7:41 until 9, that's my sacred time. I build my lists. I look at my warm list, my hot list, my cold list, my recruiting, my deals, whatever's on the board. I have like an hour and 20 minutes to go through everything before anyone bugs me. Now, do realtors get up before 9 o'clock most of the time? No, they don't. So that's my time to get my stuff done. So I do that every single day. Then the rest of my day is set. Now, the other rock in my calendar is I go to the gym every day at 3:30. Period. 3:30, period. So I don't show houses anymore. I don't do a lot of that stuff at all. And so I find from 3:30 to 4:30 I can work out. And then I'm home by 5 and I can see my family and my kids and be the best version of myself. And work can be stressful sometimes. And so now I have that buffer in between that when I get home, I'm home and I feel good. I also never answer my phone on Sundays. And at 8 o'clock, my phone is turned off, period. Period. That's what works for me. Now, some people, now I'll back up a little bit. One person in my life at one point, he's like, Cam, like the best time to write a list is to have it beside your bed. And so just before you go to sleep, you should write down all the tasks for the next day. I'm like, he's smart, he's done well. What did that do for me though? Fuck, that fired my brain out. All night, all I could think about was work, day after day, after night, after night, after night. Then wake up at 2 in the morning, this freaking pad is beside me, so I'm writing the stupidest notes at 2 a.m. So I had to remove that from my life and I had to say, no matter what, I don't care what my brain is doing at 2 in the morning because it's not very smart at 2 in the morning. At 7:41, I have the ability to critically think and make my list. That's for me. Now, some of you guys are night animals and you might be like, I'm going to write my list from 9 to 10 or 10 to 11 and then shut her down. I'm okay. Figure out your flow. Or maybe working out first thing is great. Or maybe working out in the evening is great. Figure out the flow that works for you. Make sense? Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to turn these things into habits. So they're just habitual. You just do them every single day. So my alarm goes off at the same time every day. I go to the gym at the same time every day. I write my lists at the same time every day. I do my getting clients at the same time every day. I deal with problems at the same time every day. And then I do the business at the same time every day. You know, and people are like, yeah, how do you do so much stuff?
Speaking.
I don't know. I just do the same thing every single day and it kind of works out.
Jenny, how are you?
Hi. So this is all you're going to do. This is my new habit checklist. I know that I'm leading edge with my technology. You're going to write down 12 habits that you need to implement into your schedule.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
I did, yeah. It's
Cool.
nothing I can answer those. So Cam's teaching at in Vancouver today.
Mute your phone.
There we go. Okay, so then I have a little thing called your perfect week. So after you write down the habits that you want, because you be you. Don't let me be you at all. You pick what you actually want in your life. Write your habits down and then we're going to build it into our schedule. So for example, you might be like, I want Fridays to be a flex day. Or I want to pick up my kids from school every day at 2:30 and drop them off every day at 8:30 in the morning. Whatever those things are, build them into your schedule, but then make sure you're getting, this is when I do my checklists, this is when I'm getting business, this is when I'm doing business, and then it's built every single day. And I know this is like super boring stuff, trying to teach realtors like build the perfect day. This is the magic. This is where it happens. That kind of makes sense. Okay. Okay, so now we all know what the perfect day is?
Yeah.
Woo, how exciting. Okay, good. Now, setting SMART goals. Who has heard of SMART goals, by the way? Yeah, specific, measurable, action, whatever the other things are that no one cares about. Oh my gosh. And then we have National Quitters Day that already happened. So I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of goals. I set goals, but I want to back it up a little bit. The trouble with setting goals and failing year after year after year at your goals, what does that do to your self-confidence? Oof. Does anyone get a pit in their stomach every December? Like, fuck, I have to set goals. And then January comes and then you set these goals, like, is that really what I wanted? Or am I setting goals for other people? And do I even want to do it? I don't know if I love that mentality. So I want to change how we set goals a little bit. So again, younger Cam would only ever set transactional goals. So like I said, it was 5 deals a month was my minimum. And then I would always get about that. And that's all I could think about. Sell more houses, sell more houses, sell more houses. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I want to be worth X amount per hour. So then that was another goal that I added. So here's what I want you guys to do. Has anyone ever read the National Geographic magazine, Adventure magazine? No one reads magazines anymore. It was out like 20 years ago. So their slogan was Dream It, Plan It, Do It. This is one of the slogans in my life. If I were to get a tattoo, this is a tattoo I would get. Dream it, plan it, do it. What is your dream? Plan it, and then do it. Simple. Simple. We make things so complex, right? And humans were meant to create. I firmly believe that. So creation is literally thinking of something and then doing it, not rocket science. And so this is how we set goals. So these are the goals that I'd set in my life now. So I go through financial security, relationships, health, career, life balance, spirituality, self-confidence, service, something different, and network. Those are what I set for myself every single year. And we're going to go through a simplified version of those things so I can kind of show you kind of how that like functions a little bit. One of the things that's my favorite is I actually like pick a word for myself every single year. This is kind of one of my character goals. And so a couple of years ago, I really struggled with people pleasing. I would always be the person trying to please everybody else. And so on my wall in my office, if you come in there, it was, you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And the year before that, I mean, so in my town, we're from a smaller town, 100,000 people, RE/MAX had been #1 in our town for 20 years. I show up as a young buck and we take over the #1 spot within a couple of years. Do you think people hated me in the town? Ooh, all those old RE/MAX boys, man, they got their panties in a twist. And there was a lot of really mean people to me for a bit. And so on my wall that year was FTG. People like, what does FTG mean? And then I would always be like, find the good. And they're like, oh, that's so good. What it meant is F that guy. It did. I had to do my business so that it was working for me and my family and my goals and stop worrying about what the other people were saying to me because they were upset that they weren't #1. And so I really believe in picking something for yourself that every year, like, this is what's going to define myself so I can grow a little bit every single year. And so my word this year is to bring light out of other people. So I've done lots of the selfish stuff, but how can I actually give back to other people? And so I was at a seminar in Lake Tahoe this year, and there's this guy, an assistant that worked for him for 20 years. She would go to like the gates of hell with him. And he brought her on stage, and she's a struggling mom, single mom, been doing everything she can for him. And he's like, hey, is this a picture of your house? She's like, yeah. And he's like, guess what? She's like, what? She's like, you don't owe anything on your house. I paid it off for you now. And it was a pretty impactful moment for me because his goal, he's like, I will bring light out of other people. And so my goal now is the people in my sphere, how can I actually help them? And when people are struggling, do they reach out?
No.
Not really. Do we do a good job of looking to help people all of the time? Or do we do a good job of thinking about ourselves all the time? Probably thinking about ourselves all of the time. And so my goal this year is to start helping people in my life. And it's funny when you start announcing that, a lady came up to me that I work with. She's like, hey, I've been trying to lose 50 pounds for a bunch of years. I don't know how. Hey, I'm here for you. So I hired her a nutrition coach and she's going through the whole thing right now. I have another person in my life. She's like, I've been trying to save for a house for 5 or 6 years. I can't do it. I need some help. I just co-signed a house for her so she can buy it first house. That works for me. So I can do things to bring light to other people. What that is for you, I don't know. Maybe you want to be grateful. Maybe you want to start appreciating other people. I remember one year my thing was MMFI. And I pretended everyone had a sticker on their forehead that said, make me feel important. People want to feel important. How are you going to make them feel important? So those are little things I would set for myself every single year, year after year, that it helps you kind of grow into the person you are. So I was like asking this question, where would you be in life if you had set goals 5 years ago? So if you did the things you actually wanted to do, where would you be today? Right? So I have my in-laws, this won't be recorded, so they won't hear this, so I can speak funny about my in-laws. We all have in-laws, I'm sure. And so they're like, oh, we just want to buy rental properties. You're like, then buy a rental property. Like, well, no, I got the and they'd have a million excuses. And then as every year would go on and on and on, guess what they wouldn't do? They wouldn't buy rental properties. Do you think Christmas dinner is awkward sometimes now? Because now we're like 10 years into this, like, oh, I don't know, the market is going to be a bubble, probably shouldn't buy a house. And then they complain that they're broke all of the time. What if they would have bought a rental house 10 years ago? What if they would have bought 2 rental houses 10 years ago? What would be different in their life today? And so sometimes you just dream it, plan it, and do it. It's literally that simple. So goals is also very personal. Don't set goals for other people. Don't be like, Cam came into the office, used to sell a lot of houses, I should sell a lot of houses. Maybe for you, selling 15 houses a year is awesome. I care way more about the process than I do about the results. So what is the process of getting to where you want to go? Now, I had an agent that worked for me. She was #1 in Canada, sold 240 houses a year. When you sell 240 houses a year, are you living the life that you want to live?
Probably not.
Probably not. It's just, right? So think about when you set your goals, what are you going to turn into when you set those goals? So it's not just about making the money, or it's not just about certain things. Think about who you're going to become when you set those goals, make it very personal to you. So this isn't kind of my freewheel thing where I'm like, okay, here's your checklist. Go through a whole bunch of things you think you want to do. Just start journaling. Just start going through it. This is kind of a fun activity that no one usually does. And then what we do is we take that list and then I refine it to 7 things, and this sits on my desk every single year. So this is mine right now. You guys want to like a thing into my life? So I tore my Achilles 2.5 months ago. So I literally couldn't walk. I just got my cast off 2 weeks ago. So one goal is to do a triathlon by the end of this year. I love to push myself. One of my values. Has anyone ever heard of the Sally Challenge? Up Sally up, down Sally down, the workout thing. You've never heard of this thing? Oh my gosh, YouTube it later. So I'm doing the push-up Sally challenge. Super hard, love to push myself, and I want 250 clean days. So that's my health and fitness for this year, right? On the other side, I want to sell just 30 houses this year. I'm trying to stick to just 30 houses this year. And then I want to have 150 agents that work for me net, and I want to increase all of my agents' gross closed commission by 10%. So that's on the work side of things, right? Then I have 2 kids that I love to death and I love hiking. And so I want to bring both of them on an overnight hiking trip this year. Clean, simple, good goal, put it on the board. I'm going to do it. What else is on there? I want to simplify. Oh my gosh, I bought too many cars a few years ago. So I'm trying to have less cars now. It's a stupid thing that I'm trying to get rid of. 4 big hikes, 4 speaking events, and then crucial conversations. I suck at crucial conversations sometimes. As a managing broker, especially with realtors, I can say it to you, I can't say it to my realtors. Realtors are pain in the asses. And the trouble is, what happens if you get mad at a realtor? They leave the brokerage, right? They're like, oh, I don't really like what Mike said to me. It's probably the truth, but I'm out of here. I'm going to Royal LePage. And so my goal is to have crucial conversations with more people in my life. Here's the truth. Take it or don't take it, and not be afraid if they're going to leave or not leave, but speak truth to them. One of the things I want to really try and do this year, right? And then post these things and have them written down. Really, really simple. So, I mean, this is all in your workbook if you guys want to do it. I'm probably 2 of you guys are going to do it. I'm aware of that. We're realtors. And then just make them SMART. So make them specific, measurable, actionable, whatever. And a terrible goal is to be like, I want to lose weight. We can do better than that, right? I want to be 200 pounds. They also say don't set negative goals. So don't be like, I want to lose 4 pounds or 5 pounds or 10 pounds. Just pick that weight number. Try and make it a little bit more optimistic, if that makes sense, right? And then just pick those things. That's what we want to set goals for. I breezed through that in 50 minutes. That was fast. Okay. So if you guys want to do this course, I have this pre-recorded in a 4-hour thing. What do I have? It's like $50. I think I'm charging you guys. So if you want, you can sign up for it. You have basically me talking to you for 4 hours and you can go through this workbook. I think typically I charge like $500 for this course to, especially Americans, they like to pay for this stuff the most. So that's that. The next thing I have for you guys is I do one-on-one coaching. So I have a coaching company called Elevate Coach & Co. I only take on 10 students myself because I value my time and my efforts. So I charge $1,000 an hour. We have 1 call once a month. Typically, most of my clients are very high producers and most of them are out of the States. I am at I have 3 spots right now. And then I also have more entry level coaching with some coaches that work with me. And it's like, how do you set up your database? How do you do this? And that's like $299, $399 a month. And then you get all of the systems, all the content, everything that you could ever want included in that. You just won't be talking to me to talk to one of my coaches. So I firmly believe in coaching. I have a coach that charges me $3,000 an hour at Toronto. I believe we should always be coached and coaching at the same time. Mentorship at the same time. I firmly believe it. I will run my entire career that way because I think I'm awesome. And then my coach talks to me. I'm like, shit, I totally had a blind spot there. We need those things in our career, right? And then my favorite thing is I love buying real estate. That is like when I speak at engagements, like when I spoke at the World Conference in Vegas, or I'm going down to Anaheim in a few months, I teach about wealth building for realtors. And so we get into real estate and we're like, we should sell houses. And that's great. That's our job. But our career should actually be owning real estate. So if you go through and you sell a ton of houses your whole life, you're going to end up broke at the end because the average realtor in America retires with $10,000 in their bank and their house paid off, and that's it. And so I really want to change that mantra for us. The goal is to sell houses, yes, but it's actually to buy real estate. That's what it's all about. So if I teach my realtors nothing, or the people in my life nothing, it's just buy and hold real estate and let it do its thing, right? It's kind of funny. So I have a course that I kind of go through that. Any questions? That was fast and a lot. I know. I'm sorry.
Your gifts, your monthly gifts. Is it all through Canada Post, or are you dropping them off?
All through Canada Post.
You don't go to their office and drop something nice off?
No, Canada Post. Okay. I feel like I am like, you know, when you guys like about closing and you got to give away keys, I'm the worst at it. Like I'm in my lane, but I'm not the emotional guy sometimes. It's like when you're like, here's a key and a pizza box, and we're like, I'm like, key out. So I'm like, same thing, like, here's the mail out. Like, I don't know.
So we're all just coupon related then, because they have to fit into the newsletter or the Canada Mail or?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, so example, like the Canucks magnet is a magnet that goes on their fridge. Or the seeds, like my assistant looks like she's some sort of drug person. She's like cutting up seeds, putting them in little bags, zip tying them and getting them out. Like it's funny watching her operation go. But yeah, you just into the envelope and then you give it to them. Something of value so they want to open it. Yeah.
Can we go back to slides?
Yes.
Whatever you have said right now. Today, whatever is today, and you can bring state market. You implement the books in terms of facing this sort of situation.
So you're talking about like the macroeconomics and kind of being scared of that. That's what you're talking about. Like Trump sending tariffs and yeah. Here's what I've learned. There's always going to be a million things that are external. But here's what I also know. Do people divorce, marry, have babies, retire, go to university, job relocate, all of the above. So I don't care what happens, what the noise is out there. There's always houses to sell, period. There just is. Right. And if you know 100 people in your database, your goal should be 200, but there's 100 people you know, 20 of them are just going to move. They just are. There's no way around it. Some years it might be 15, some years it might be 30, but on average, 20 of them are going to move. It's like friggin' clockwork. It's hilarious. Like they call you like, hey, Cam, I was just thinking about you. I'm like, I know, you're at about 5 years. What? How did you know? I'm like, well, statistically, like you're probably going to call me. Right? Or if I'm going hunting that day because I need a deal, I look at who's 5 years past my database. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen this really cool house? What a great upgrade. I know you guys are in this house, but you've been talking about acreage. There's a really good acreage you just found. Like, wow, Cam, I can't believe you knew that. We were just thinking about that. Weird. There's deals all the time. Yeah.
In the 4-hour course speech, if you just slide back, is there any materials that are with that given?
So what I did is, yeah, like it is a whole comprehensive slide. Like we're talking like 200 slides are in there. And then this book literally goes like piece by piece by piece. We go through everything. So I'm just like, here's the book. You can kind of fumble your way through it anyways if you want to. And then we'll do like the high level 4 parts of what it looks like. So just kind of like diving more into it. So yeah, just trying to help people. I mean, you talk about like, might as well just film it and get it out to the world so I can help people with it.
Anybody else?
Anything else?
Pretty quiet.
Do you have any magic formula for buying rental property?
Ooh, magic formulas for buying rental properties. I have, okay, so I have certain things that I stick by. Okay,
Right.
so when I buy and sell real estate, there's three things that matter. In any kind of like owning real estate situation, there's cash flow, there's appreciation, and there's principal repayment. Those are the three laws. And so my analogy is it's going for dinner. When I go for dinner, I'm going for dinner. Dinner is principal repayment. No matter what you buy, you're going to pay down the property over 25 years. Now, sometimes when I go for dinner, I'm feeling excited, I'm going to get dessert. Dessert is the appreciation. If you go for enough dinners, you're going to get desserts. That's the appreciation. And then every once in a while, when rents are up, interest rates are down, you're going to get really good cash flow. And so my number one factor is principal repayment, period. I want to make sure that's working. My next thing that I really care about, and it depends which part of your life that you're in, my minimum standard is a 15% return on investment as a minimum year over year. I won't touch if it's less than 15%. Early in your investing career, you should care about cash flow because you don't have a lot of money. Cash flow really, really matters. Later in your career, you can chase appreciation. So for example, earlier this year, I bought a building, you know where the SkyTrain is going to go from Vancouver and end in Langley? I bought a building there that's a POS, but it's literally where the SkyTrain is going to end, and it just got upzoned to 15 stories. So I spent $5 million on it, and the price just came in at $9 million. Because suddenly everyone's like, oh, we can build 15 stories there. And so early in my life, I couldn't have afforded that. I think the negative cash flow is $10,000 a month. It cost me just to hold this property. Now, I've already made $4 million on this thing because the appraisals come in quite a bit higher because we've upzoned it to 15 stories. So early in your career, cash flow. Later in your career, as long as you have enough cash flow things, you can chase that appreciation. It depends very bad. I coach lots of people through that stuff though, but hopefully that's helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question on Zoom. They're asking for a copy of your slides.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll email all my slides. I share everything all the time. I brought my books too. So I published a book a couple of years ago, or actually in June. So I'm like, I want to write a book to the earlier version of Cam without the fluff and all the stuff. Like, what does a practical step-by-step guide look like to actually run a successful real estate career? So I published it in June. It's kind of funny because people like in the UK and Australia and India and United States, people are buying it all over the place, which is funny. So I'm like, I'm some winning up from Chilliwack. But it's literally just like a practical guide to how to run a real estate business. It's really good. So books are here for you guys if you wanted to.
The autograph.
Oh, only for Mikey.
Anybody else?
Anyone else?
Well, Cameron.
Okay, guys, thanks for your time. I really
Cameron, thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Really appreciate it. Thanks.